Thanks for joining me on The Conscious Educator. The premise behind this series is that in this global transitionary time, educators have a unique opportunity to redesign education within a larger transformative vision, namely whole, healthy human development towards more integrated ways of being within a thriving, more than human world. Now, within this larger vision of education, the topic I want to talk about today is how to empower young people to become agents for change in the world. I think that many educators have moved beyond the paradigm of we need to educate young people to go out and get a job and earn income. That bar is set pretty low, and that is an outdated purpose of education. So really, many educators have moved beyond that and are looking at whole, healthy human development. We're really wanting to see how they can transform the world. How do they create the world that we all know is possible and hope for and want to live in? Now, when we look at changing the world, in the old story or the current dominant paradigm, the way you change anything is to oppose it, right? It's to let all of your friends know and get as many people on board, bring out awareness and get them all behind you and build a movement to overthrow that opposition, that evil in the world, that group that you're opposing, that's creating this problem or evil in the world. And once you've overcome it, you get to replace that system with your new and better way of doing things. Now, that's a very convincing story. We've all maybe grown up within that story. The problem is, it never really works like that. It's not very effective. Really what ends up happening is you have one regime replaced with another regime. You have one dictator for another. You have one system replaced by just a slightly different system with different names and maybe a little bit of a different approach. You end up maybe with minor changes, but not really true transformation. And in this period in history, what we really desperately need is true transformation. We don't have time and space for minor changes right now. We need transformation from the ground up. So how do we empower young people to be agents for change and transformation when we don't rely on this old story of opposing the evil thing, those that are wrong, those that are in power, and overthrowing them, or replacing with a new and better improved system or way of doing things? I think that in this new story of being that is, as Charles Eisenstein would call interbeing, it's defined by interconnectedness, a deep understanding of being in connection and collaboration with every other partner on earth, that is defined by relationship and symbiosis or making together. That in this new emerging paradigm, there's not room to make enemies. There's not room for opposing the other. But we have to see the other as a potential collaborator, as someone to be working with, as someone that needs transformation just as I need transformation. So many are coming to realize that in order to transform the exterior world, we need to first put attention on our interiors and be transformed from the inside out. Now, this doesn't mean that we don't take action. Absolutely, we take action, but we do it first on the interiors. And that leads to this reciprocal relationship of what some would call like action and contemplation. So the first thing that I think that we would need to guide young people in, and that we would need to model ourselves, is a full radical acceptance of what is, of present reality. We need to be well informed of all the things that are going on, the evil in the world, the problems that we encounter, the things that we despise and we're raging against. We need to come to a place of full, peaceful acceptance of what is, rather than opposing out of anger, righteous indignation. We need to sit in that place. We know that it shouldn't be. We don't want it to be. But it is. And we need to accept that. That is the current reality. Now, this would lead us to a place of understanding our own participation in that problem. We realize that we're indicated, we're a part of it. The toxic environments, climate change, racism, inequality, all of these issues, we are a part of those problems. It's a part of our interior space. When we can come to terms with that, then we can begin to accept and forgive ourselves. From this place of grace and forgiveness, we're set on a path of being able to extend grace and forgiveness to others. This is the path of true transformation. No one was ever transformed by someone who opposed them arrogantly, violently, aggressively. The transformation that's happened in my own life is when I've encountered people that have extended grace and love and acceptance for who I was fully at that time. That is what caused true change and transformation in me. So if we can model this with young people, this paradigm of recognizing the depths of evil in the world, being exposed to that, and by early adolescence, we can expose young people to some of the real problems in the world. And from that exposure, to help them stop. Don't rush into action. Don't rush into opposing that evil or those other people or that destructive system, but to accept it, that it presently is, this is current reality. Come to a place of peace, of understanding our own participation in that, wrestling through that, extending grace and forgiveness to ourselves, to each other, forgiveness to reality, forgiveness to ourselves, forgiveness to these corrupt systems and ways of doing things that are destructive and harmful. And then from that place of peace, that place of acceptance, of love, of grace, then to start dreaming this new, more beautiful world, to start dreaming of solutions, of ways that we can work with others towards creating new ways of doing things from this new way of being in the world. This, I believe, is where true transformation can happen. So how do we empower young people to be agents for change in the world? I think that we need to model this path of transformation on the interiors and guide young people through that process. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you next time on The Conscious Educator.